What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Roman Reigns cancelling a superstar's push, why Triple H hated Chris Jericho, the Retribution are furious over a meme, a legend says he snapped Goldberg's streak, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now our first story looks at Roman Reigns just cancelled a superstar's push. Roman Reigns is currently Universal Champion, but he apparently has more than kayfabe power. As fans know, Kevin Owens has been coming up short against Roman Reigns due to Reigns' continued help from cousin Jey Uso, leading to fans wondering why no one has helped the babyface KO even the odds. Well, apparently WWE Creative had an idea of bringing in Damian Priest to serve as Owens' best friend. According to Wrestling News' Paul Davis, Priest was even backstage despite Owens saying the proposed storyline made no sense as the two had nothing in common. During the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer discussed the situation and how Roman Reigns became involved. They had decided this idea that we need to make stars on SmackDown, we need new babyface stars, so it's kind of like somebody asked who can be the next new babyface in NXT that can come on the main roster, and that guy was Damian Priest. Disregarding the fact that SmackDown can't make stars out of its current roster, Reigns stepped in, with Meltzer stating, so they had a storyline where it was supposed to be Damian Priest was Kevin Owens' best friend and he's helping him against Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. In fact, they were going to do a tag match on the show Friday night and Damian Priest is there and ready and all that, and Kevin Owens said essentially that it makes no sense for him to be my best friend. What do we have in common? Why would he be my best friend? We can do it, but why is he my best friend? So Roman Reigns agreed, and since it's Roman Reigns, it was nixed. I don't know where Heyman stood on it, but it was nixed. What do you guys think of this proposed storyline and about Reigns using his stroke to get the storyline pulled? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, why Triple H hated Chris Jericho. Did Triple H bury Chris Jericho during their program in the WWF? Some fans think so, as Jericho became the WWE's first undisputed champion, only to lose to the cerebral assassin at WrestleMania 18. Jim Ross recently shared his take on why Triple H used his golden shovel to bury Chris Jericho during Y2J's first run in the WWE. Speaking on his Grilling JR podcast, he explained, the Jericho thing was, I believe quite simply that Jericho had a load of charisma, naturally that Hunter may have not have had at that point in time, and the fact that Jericho was under 6 feet tall, it's pretty bullshit. Triple H's reputation for burying potential rivals has been discussed ever since Hunter's rise to power alongside Shawn Michaels in D-Generation X. Next up, Retribution is furious over a meme. The recent fracas in the United States Capitol led to a surge of social media posts, including a meme that likened the protesters to WWE faction Retribution. Parody news site Kayfabe News tweeted a meme of the protesters in the Capitol building, photoshopping a Retribution logo over a Donald Trump flag with the caption, "Worst invasion angle ever." Retribution's T-Bar replied to the meme tweeting, I'm the only white American in the group, so this comparison is not only inaccurate, quite frankly, it's embarrassing. Take your dumb joke and shove it up your ass. Retribution member Reckoning added, don't compare us to terrorists. Get the F out with this trash. Do you think the meme was in poor taste, or should Retribution focus on getting over in the WWE rather than berating people on social media? Next up, WWE doing more Interbrand crossovers. Raw Superstars The Lucha House Party's recent appearance on NXT has fans wondering whether the WWE is resuming its Interbrand crossovers. You may recall the promotion scaled them back reportedly due to the outbreak of COVID cases in NXT, with the WWE concerned that Raw and or SmackDown stars might be infected. However, in this week's Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer discussed how the WWE may have relaxed its policy. An interesting note with the Lucha House Party on both NXT and Raw is that months back, Vince made the call that nobody from NXT comes to Raw or SmackDown for fear that there was an outbreak at the Performance Center that it wouldn't spread to the major shows because there would be no interaction. As Meltzer notes, the chances of COVID infections also depended on interactions outside of the squared circle. Of course, that ignores that these people live social lives and so many are based in Tampa and Orlando area, and unfortunately, as Paul Levesque even noted publicly, some of the talent thinks this thing is over and it's not over. That's also why no NXT people were booked for Survivor Series, and they didn't use Raw or SmackDown people on NXT for so long to try and boost NXT's ratings when they had gotten so far behind. but Vince evidently had a change of thoughts about it, because obviously there is no great business reason to put the Lucha House Party on NXT. Now, it's difficult to imagine the Lucha House Party bumping the ratings for NXT, but this could be a test for future Interbrand crossovers. Who would you like to see make the jump over to NXT or vice versa? Next up, Stone Cold praises 2 current WWE superstars. Now, there are a number of WWE superstars looking to be the best, but who does WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin see as the promotion's top stars right now? The Texas Rattlesnake recently talked to Fox Sports' Ryan Satin and mentioned current WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. I've been watching him, and to meet him in person and to get a feel for his physicality and his mentality and the way he thinks about the business, very impressed with Drew. He's definitely really earned the position he's at in the business today. However, Austin didn't always feel this way, as a few years back, Mick Foley showed up on Austin's podcast and praised McIntyre as a rising star, an assessment Austin disagreed with. Mick Foley was on the podcast years ago and he goes, "Hey man, this guy, if you'd have told me he was going to be the guy years ago, I'd have said no. He's a mid-card guy." Mick goes, "You should watch this guy." While Austin and McIntyre's styles are different, McIntyre is a badass babyface who could be a lasting main event if the WWE keeps him out of goofy comedy spots like Legends Night and books him consistently strong. The Texas Rattlesnake also praised another superstar, talking up veteran Randy Orton to Ryan Satin and Orton's current heel persona. He's grown into it, Ryan, I agree. He's always been good in the ring, but I feel now his character work and his promos is off the charts. His work has always been there, but now he's nailing it all. Randy Orton has garnered considerable praise for his work in 2020 as he revived his Legend Killer character, taking it to new heights as he took out WWE Legend after Legend. Austin seems to think that this will continue in 2021, at least based on Orton's performance at this year's Legends Night. I watched Raw just this past Monday as we speak, whenever it was, and he was just the promos that he was cutting on the Legends, the actions, the match with Jeff Hardy where he's working that arm, slow, methodical, vicious. He's so dialed in right now. This is the best Randy Orton we've ever seen. And while Randy Orton has been accused of phoning it in during his career, his 2020 was fantastic and 2021 could be even better as he's likely to resume his feud with The Fiend. And finally, a legend says he snapped Goldberg's streak. Last but not least, a WWE legend is claiming he broke Bill Goldberg's undefeated streak. No, we're not talking about WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash, who beat his streak at Starrcade 98 with the help of a cattle prod, but a WWE superstar who claims his undefeated streak is far greater than Goldberg's streak in WCW during the Monday Night War. During a chat with Dan Miracle of Boston Wrestling MWF, the Native American Tatanka boasted of his own undefeated streak, comparing it to Bill's. "We literally wrestled about 500 times a year, not including if we were being used on TV by Vince McMahon. We would wrestle at least twice per day. Everyone always talks about Tatanka, the undefeated streak, the 2-year undefeated streak. Goldberg 173-0. When we finally figure it out and we start talking to everybody, actually I'd probably be close to 1001 because I went 2 years undefeated." Tatanka enjoyed an impressive undefeated streak during his run in the WWF from 91 to 93, but the WWE didn't pay close attention to it as WCW did with Goldberg's win streak. Do you think Tatanka's win streak beats Goldberg's? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.